Hey, I'm Danny, and this is my story. I was born into a really Christian household. Both my mom and my dad were both, had really strong faiths. My older brother Josh, he was my real brother, had a pretty strong faith too. And up until about age 7, when my parents got a divorce, I was really involved in the church. I would go to Sunday school, and I'd go to, the large church with my parents and listen to the music and hear Pastor Bob's sermons. And then when my parents got a divorce when I was about 7, I didn't really realize what was going on. I didn't really have a whole lot of an understanding of what was happening, and my relationship with God still continued. It was still a really palpable thing, really potent thing. But my brother Josh, it took a toll on him because he was like a lot older. And later on in my life, once my parents both remarried, and I was kind of like facing with like the struggles of like who I am, who I'm about, what I'm about, what kind of person, what kind of man I want to be once I get older. When I was about 12 years old, I would look to my brother Josh, because he would always be an example for me, like an older brother figure. And he turned against God and everything that God was about, and saw it as just like a guilt trip, or trying to make him feel bad. He didn't see like the love and the powerful, like how amazing God's love is, and he turned his back on it. And so when I went to him, it basically reflected upon me. And then I was struggling with my relationship with my dad. He was abusive, and my mom just was, she was always there for me. She was my angel, basically. She was such an angel. And up until I was about 15, I lived with, half time with my mom and half time with my dad. And when my brother left for college, I kind of got this like freeing of like, I was like free of this burden, that he always put on my faith. And then when my parents, after they split when I was about 15, I moved full-time with my mom. And up until that point, my faith was staggering, like extremely staggering. So much to the point that I didn't call myself a Christian anymore. I said that I was, non-denominational, like, or something like that. I would give some vague answer, because even in my own mind, I wasn't certain about my faith and where my love, lay. So I was constantly doubting myself. I was doubting my own actions through God. And I never read the Bible, I never prayed. I came to church, Sunday school sometimes, just for the friendship connection. And then after finally, when I moved to my mom's house, and I was free of my brother, I was free of my dad, and I had nothing but good influences, and my mom and some of my best friends, and they brought me back into the church sort of thing. And at first, again, it was just to hang out with my friends, because my mind was still on that set that Josh had put in my brain. And then I started like really listening to my high school leader. I started really listening to the message, and I started really reading the Bible and getting what is meant to get out of it. I felt God's presence in my life so potent, like so palpable. Like I have no idea to this very day how someone as sure as I was that there was no God, that I didn't feel any love. I had no clue that it was possible for me to be transformed so quickly. And even just recently, in the past, let's say 6 months, my faith has gone from about here to, the limits, like the ends of these rooms, even farther, like unlimited love. Because I feel this forgiveness, and I feel this acceptance and this love in my church and by God. And I look back to those days when I was at my lowest, and I really struggled with my faith, and I think like, how could that even be possible throughout all that time that God was still there and he still loved me, but I didn't see it. I was just a kid, trying to find his way, being directed by God all along. He directed me to, he pointed himself to me, or he pointed himself to me. I saw him through everything in the very end. Once I was happy beyond measure, I became even happier because of him, because he gave me so much. Because even in my lowest days, and even now in my lowest days, when I'm having a bad day, stress with school, drama with friends, with girls, I know I can always sit on my bed, open up my Bible, and I can look at like Galatians. I can look at John, and I can look at Job, and all the forgiveness and all the love that God is truly about. And that's really what defines my faith nowadays, is the fact that redemption and forgiveness is so potent and so palpable and worked so acutely in my life that I have no idea what I would have done without God.